If you have a fear of uncertainty and you need everything to be planned out to the T before actually taking the risk, because that's not a risk, that's a plan at that point, then this reading is for you because you can't be certain about everything in life and you shouldn't be. If you are constantly thinking about certainty, you are not living, you are not experiencing, and you are just living in your own head, but not in a good way. Because if you're not receiving new information, if you're not receiving new experiences, then you're just living the same life day to day, because 95% of our thoughts are going to be repetitive. It's the neural pathways that are fired the exact same way by the exact same things, by the exact same experiences, with the same people that you're talking to, the same food that you're eating, the same shows that you're watching, and you need to be open to something new. You have to be open to spontaneity and excitement and surprises, because that's just a part of life. You can't control everything and you shouldn't have to. With that being said, we have the Four of Swords in reverse. No more waiting around for something amazing to happen. No more waiting for those plans. You have to get out of your seat. You have to stand up and you have to start walking. If you're waiting for something amazing to happen, it is never going to come for you because of neuroplasticity, because you're not open to it. If you need everything to be planned out before finally taking that first step to change your job, to change your relationships, to meet new people, to move somewhere, to go on vacation, your brain is only going to prove to you the things that you believe to be true. So if you aren't open to those things, you're going to come up with excuses even when opportunities come up for you. You are never going to pay attention to them. You are going to be blindsided to those new opportunities because they don't fit your plan, they don't fit your schedule, and they are the same cycles over and over again that you were experiencing. You are the only person who can get yourself out of these cycles. And I think that you being stuck, yes, sometimes we do feel stuck, and right now we are in Mercury retrograde, so yes, we are going to feel like things aren't moving the way that we want them to, but if you are never open to that spontaneity because of that fear of uncertainty, you are following through with those same cycles as I mentioned earlier. You're living the same experiences, you're thinking the same thoughts, you're talking to yourself the exact same way, and that doesn't mean that you should change. That doesn't mean that you need improvement, but that does mean that you need some sort of new experiences and you need to be open to them. I know that it's scary, but we're not meant to go through the same thing over and over again. Yes, we were meant to eat berries, lay out in the sun, reproduce, and evolve. But at the same time, we were meant to find berries in different places because at some point that supply is going to deplete in that same bush that you've been eating at. Sometimes we need to hunt somewhere else. Sometimes we need to find water in a different lake. And that is all metaphorical for the caveman brain, but it does apply here too. Sometimes you need to go to a coffee shop that is a little bit more far away in order to try something new, try a new drink, a new favorite drink that is going to be of yours. You need to go somewhere new on vacation instead of going to the same place. Or if you haven't been on vacation in a while, that is a whole different story, that you finally need to accept that change, that sense of uncertainty of where you are going to go. Obviously use common sense and do nothing that harms yourself or anybody else around you, but at the same time, you need to get yourself out there. We were meant to experience. We weren't meant to consume as much as we have been on our phones. This isn't a phone, but you get the picture. But we were meant to experience new things: art, music, life, love, people, socializing, and you need to stop living the same cycles over and over again. And that is a really good shift in perspective. Uncertainty isn't scary. Uncertainty is adventure. Uncertainty brings you to being a more wholesome human being because you are going to learn empathy by getting yourself out there. You are going to learn about how other people are living and how their culture relates to yours, how their culture can make yours better, whether it be with food, whether it be with music and art and books, and maybe even politics and history. You don't know how amazing things can be unless you are open to them, and that's also something to consider. As I mentioned earlier, our brains are never going to be open to something that is unfamiliar to us, and that is why uncertainty is so scary. But uncertainty, again, leads us to adventure. It leads us down new quests that we didn't know that we needed. And that doesn't have to be something that's unsafe. That's also a perspective change that you need to have here. That just because it is different, just because it is unfamiliar, does not mean that it is unsafe. It does not mean that it is dangerous, and it does not mean that it's not going to be good for you. And this could be related to something smaller, like changing your job, or again, meeting new people, but this could be related to something bigger, of changing your perspective on life. and thinking a little bit differently, talking to yourself differently, being kinder to yourself. That could be a big one here. But at the end of the day, it's all a matter of perspective. Yes, it is scary not knowing what is going to happen, but at the end of the day, you never know what is going to happen. Even if you follow through with your plans and they don't go exactly the way that you have them laid out in your to-do list and your step-by-step, you are only going to end up disappointed. So maybe that's why you need to start being a little bit more open to uncertainty and surprises and spontaneity, because then you're going to be less disappointed. You're going to have less control, but that's not a bad thing. We have less control than we think we do, but at the same time, we have more control than we think we do because of our energy, because of our perspective. Let everything be an experience. Let everything be an adventure, and life is going to be a lot less scary. You're going to be anxious about things less likely because you're going to know that you are capable of achieving those things. You're not going to become less anxious unless you do some immersion therapy, and you're not going to become more confident unless you actually do the things that you're telling yourself you're going to do. Yes, it is scary. Yes, you can't be in control of your plans if you focus on spontaneity, but dude, imagine how amazing it can be. Be delusional about it and take a little bit more risks. Uncertainty isn't dangerous, even if it is scary, but it's going to lead to good things. More adventure, less of the same thing over and over again, less of the sense of stuckness, and finally living instead of waiting for something amazing to happen, because you are that something amazing. Go live.